You've been taught to work hard, but no one taught you to think richly. You've been told to save pennies while people of power create millions with a single idea. I am here to awaken you, for there is a way to command money, to attract it in such boundless amounts that poverty becomes impossible, not through chance, not through inheritance, but through the mind that is trained to think in gold. Stay with me, and I will give you the exact steps that built the fortunes of Carnegie, Ford, and Edison, and can now build yours. Let me ask you plainly, have you decided to be rich, or are you still entertaining the illusion that riches belong to other people? Are you waiting for your ship to come in while refusing to build the ship? Are you hoping for money while speaking words of poverty and walking in fear? You say you want more money, but desire without decision is the seed of poverty. Most people don't lack opportunity, they lack will. They don't suffer from fate, they suffer from indefinite thought. They drift, they wish, they hesitate, they speak of dreams but act on doubt, and so life gives them exactly what they have commanded: fear, limitation, lack. You were not born to live this way. You were not created to fear every bill and serve every coin. You were born rich in thought, rich in spirit, rich in possibility. And today, if you will hear me, if you will stay with me to the end, I will teach you how to awaken riches so vast, so continuous, so overflowing. You will not be able to spend it all in a single lifetime. This is no idle promise. This is not wishful thinking. It is not fantasy. It is not hope. It is law. I am not here to inspire you. I am here to instruct you. There is a method by which riches are attracted to the mind that is trained to think in gold, to believe in abundance, to speak with definiteness, and to act without fear. These words you are about to hear are not mine alone. They are the distilled conclusions of 25 years of labor, born of my association with Andrew Carnegie, who charged me to interview and study the 500 most successful people of the age. Individuals who rose from nothing to control industries, people who possessed no formal education, no wealth, no social position, and yet shaped the course of history through the power of organized thought. Among them were Henry Ford, who began as a farm boy with a dream and reshaped transportation; Thomas Edison, who failed 10,000 times before birthing the electric light; Charles Schwab, who rose from laborer to command a steel empire; Rockefeller, Morgan, Hill, Gillette. All of them different in station, but united in one trait. They trained their minds to attract riches, and they demanded wealth from life with such faith that life could not deny them. And now so can you. But let me warn you, this is not a speech for casual ears. This is not a tale told to pass time. What follows is a spiritual blueprint for commanding riches. You must not listen lightly. You must not drift while you listen, for if you miss a single part, you may miss the very step that was meant to unlock your fortune. The principles I will give you are exact. They are eternal. They are the same laws that lifted these individuals from obscurity to greatness. If you will stay with me, if you will submit yourself to the instructions, if you will apply what you hear with faith and decision, you will build a fortune so expansive, so enduring, that the world itself will bend to your definiteness of purpose. And so I say again, stay until the final word. Don't be like the person who dug for gold and quit 3 feet from the vein. Don't be like the multitude who say, I already know this, yet live as beggars in a universe of wealth. Remain, listen, absorb, command. For this may be the hour your life changes. And if it is, if you grasp the truth I will unfold, you will rise from your present state and begin to attract more money than you ever thought possible. So much that spending becomes secondary, so much that giving becomes joy, so much that you no longer chase riches. You become a magnet for them. Repeat these words before we begin. I was not born to be poor. I was born to be rich. I do not wait for money. I command it. My thoughts are definite. My aim is clear. My fortune is on its way. Now let us begin. If you think riches are for other people, I tell you plainly, you have already rejected the treasure that was meant to be yours. If you believe wealth is for those born under a lucky star, or blessed by some divine exception, or gifted with mysterious talents beyond your reach, then I must be direct with you. You have already forfeited your inheritance. For the first step toward wealth is not labor. It is not education. It is not luck, nor connection, nor time. The first step toward riches, without exception, is the belief that you can possess them. Until that belief is planted deep in your spirit, no action will bear fruit, no plan will gain traction, and no effort will be sufficient to overcome poverty. But once you believe, truly believe, that wealth is not only available to you but meant for you, then the floodgates of possibility begin to move, first within, then without. Every person who has ever been wealthy began by first believing they could be. Before there was gold in their pocket, there was gold in their thoughts. Before there were houses and lands and factories and fortunes, there was one thing, a definite belief that they would possess them. Henry Ford had not $1 when he began his pursuit. He had no formal education. He had no family inheritance. What he had was a vision, and a faith in that vision that grew hotter each day until it consumed his very doubts. John D. Rockefeller, before he was a household name, walked to his first job interview in worn clothes and with trembling hands, but in his mind, he already saw himself at the helm of a great enterprise. Charles Schwab, as a youth, carried steel messages and swept floors, but in his mind, he saw skyscrapers and empires. They believed before they earned, and because they believed they earned more than most people can count. That is not a trick. That is not mystery. That is not divine favoritism. That is law. You must tear from your mind the lie that poverty is noble or permanent or beyond your control. Poverty is a temporary condition, born of indefinite thinking, sustained by fear, and cured only by the decision to think accurately, believe fully, and act with purpose. I have seen individuals lift themselves from starvation to abundance in a matter of years, not because the economy changed, nor because someone handed them money, but because they began to think definitely. The riches were always within them, but they were waiting for orders. And so it is with you. There is more gold within your mind than in all the mines of the earth, but it lies dormant until you give it orders. You are the only commander your subconscious will obey, and yet most people speak no orders at all. They let their thoughts wander like dogs off a leash, chasing every doubt, every fear, every worry that enters the gates of the world. They complain of lack while thinking in lack. They fear bills and create more. They speak of what they cannot afford, and thus ensure that their wealth never arrives. They declare war on their own riches by repeating the slogans of the poor. I can't afford that. That's too expensive. Money doesn't grow on trees. And then they wonder why money does not grow in their life. What you say is a command. What you think is a blueprint. What you believe becomes real. This is not philosophy. It is fact. Look at your present condition. You work hard, but the harder you work, the farther ahead the goal seems to move. You save pennies, but somehow the dollars vanish. You lie awake at night, not from abundance, but from anxiety. You wonder how you'll pay the next bill. You fear that wealth may never come. You look at other people who live in abundance and think they are made of something different. My friend, what you lack is not money. What you lack is a command over your own mind. You are letting the most powerful instrument ever created run wild without direction. Your subconscious obeys only definite orders, and you have issued none. If you desire riches, you must stop thinking like someone who accepts poverty. You must declare war on vagueness. You must stop talking like someone who is merely trying to get by. Do not say, I want more money. That is not definite. That is not purpose. That is not command. Say this instead. I demand of life $1 million, and I will earn it by rendering a specific service. Name the amount. Name the method. Write it. Speak it. Feel it. See it in your mind so vividly that your very bones respond to it. This is how riches are summoned. Someone may say, but I have no skills. Then learn. I have no capital. Then begin where you are. I have no connections. Then speak so clearly and think so powerfully that connection is drawn to you. Desire, when definite, backed by belief, reinforced by repetition, and carried into action, will tear down every obstacle you now face. But if you drift, if you delay, if you speak aimlessly and act timidly, you will remain a beggar in a world of gold. I have spoken with people who lost everything, business gone, friends gone, reputation ruined. But within months, some of them rebuilt faster, stronger, wealthier. Why? Because they still believed they could. They still saw the vision. They still acted with precision. The world respects the person who knows what they want, and it ignores the person who does not. Right now, there are riches in motion. More money than you can fathom is changing hands every hour, but only those who think with definiteness and speak with belief will attract it. The rest will watch from a distance, wondering why wealth passes them by like a carriage in the night. Now I say to you, you are the richest person alive if you choose to be. You must repeat it, not once, but daily, until the words dissolve your doubt, until your subconscious accepts them as law, until your every action flows from the identity of a person who was born to be rich. Say it now. I was born to be rich. I will demand riches from life. My thoughts attract gold. My words command gold. My actions draw gold. I am a rich person in thought, in purpose, in spirit, and soon in possession. There is no virtue in poverty. There is no strength in lack. There is only misdirected thoughts, turned inward, backward, and downward. You were meant to rise, to build, to create, to overflow with so much wealth that it blesses others. Money is a tool, one you must master, not fear. It is a servant to the trained mind. It is an ally to the definite person. It is an enemy only to the weak, the wavering, and the wandering. Let your past be poor if it must, but let your thoughts be rich from this moment forward. And if you continue with me, if you give yourself fully to the teachings ahead, if you obey the laws I will now lay before you, the day will soon come when you open your ledger and find yourself overwhelmed, not by debt, but by surplus, not by fear, but by power, not by questions, but by purpose. And when that day comes, remember this moment, the moment you first declared, I will be rich, and meant it. Now let us continue. Nothing is impossible to the mind that believes. Break the chains of limitation. Riches never come by accident. They don't fall from the sky, nor do they arrive by luck. Riches are the result of desire, not a wish, not a fleeting hope, but a consuming, persistent, burning desire that refuses to accept anything less than wealth. A wish says, I hope to be rich. Desire says, I shall be rich and nothing shall stop me. That difference is the chasm between the poor and the powerful. The beginning of all riches is desire, pure, white-hot, unrelenting. Every great fortune you admire began first in the heart of a person who would not let go of the picture they saw in their mind. That picture, repeated with feeling and belief, called forth the money to match it. Weak desires bring weak results. Vague hopes bring vague returns. Only desire backed by belief, repeated until it becomes faith, and then carried out with definite action, can compel wealth to obey you. Desire must not live in your mouth alone. It must saturate your thoughts. It must dictate your speech. It must drive your deeds. It must become the dominating influence of your waking hours and a companion to your dreams. The person who drifts says, I'd like more money. The person of purpose says, I will possess a fortune, and here is the exact amount I claim. One is hoping, the other is commanding, and the world bows only to the person who commands. Consider the story of Edwin C. Barnes. He didn't begin with money. He didn't even begin with an introduction or favor. He began with desire, a burning desire to become the business partner of Thomas Edison. He had no way of knowing how it would happen, but his desire was so definite, so persistent, that he acted upon it. He boarded a freight train, crossed miles with no ticket, and arrived at Edison's office uninvited, unannounced, but unwavering. When Edison saw him, he later said, he looked like an ordinary person, but there was something in his eyes that told me he would not leave without getting what he came for. That something was desire, stronger than appearance, louder than credentials. Barnes didn't get his partnership immediately, but he accepted a menial job, and for years he kept his eyes on the one thing he came for. Then came the day Edison launched a new invention. The salesman didn't believe in it, but Barnes did. He seized the opportunity. He sold the invention with such belief that it swept the nation. And so Barnes, the unknown person with no money and no title, became the trusted partner of Thomas Edison. He became rich not by chance, but by desire. That story lives because it proves the law. Burning desire backed by definiteness of purpose, carried out by action, will create its own opportunities. The world moves aside for the person who knows where they are going. Now ask yourself, have you truly decided what you want, or are you still hoping vaguely for improvement? Are you chasing 5 goals, or have you chosen one aim and made it the master thought of your life? Let me give you the 6 exact steps that, when followed, will turn desire into riches. I didn't create these steps. I discovered them in the lives of every wealthy person I studied. They are not theory, they are law. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Not more money, a definite sum. The subconscious does not respond to vagueness. Determine exactly what you will give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. What service, what product, what value will you render? Establish a definite date by which you intend to possess the money. A goal without a date is a dream, and dreams unwatched fade. Create a definite plan and begin at once, whether you feel ready or not. The person who waits for perfect readiness never begins. Begin now. Write out a clear statement of your goal and include the amount, the service, the date, and your plan. Write it in full. Read your written statement aloud twice each day, morning and night. Read it with faith. Read it with emotion. Read it until your subconscious accepts it as fact. If you will do these 6 steps daily, riches will begin to move toward you in ways you cannot predict. The method is not instant, but it is inevitable when followed with discipline. But let me say this directly. If you have not written down your definite sum, you are not serious. You may say you want wealth, but if your desire has not yet reached your pen, it is not yet ready to command your life. Words spoken pass quickly, but words written hold the mind. Writing your desire with clarity and conviction is the first outward sign that you have begun to shape your inward faith. If you cannot decide what you want, how can the infinite respond? The person who is unclear in thought is invisible to opportunity, but the person who writes their purpose in ink writes it first into their future. You must become so obsessed with riches that you feel the weight of the gold in your hands before the world gives you a coin. Your imagination must furnish the evidence before the bank does. Desire must live in your imagination like fire in the furnace, consuming, directing, heeding every thought with purpose. If you do not see the money inwardly, you will never receive it outwardly. Say aloud, "My desire is definite, my goal is clear, I will have it." Repeat it again, not weakly, not questioningly. Say it as a commander. "My desire is definite, my goal is clear, I will have it." Each morning, read your statement. See yourself already in possession of the money. Feel what it will feel like. Speak as if the wealth is already yours. At night, read it again so that your last thoughts before sleep are thoughts of riches. This is not fantasy. This is instruction. The subconscious does not sleep. It listens in the dark, and when it hears the same message night and morning, it begins to accept it as law and deliver the circumstances to match it. Do not skip this. Do not neglect this. You may work 10 hours a day, but if you will not take 10 minutes to speak your riches into being, you are sabotaging your wealth before it begins. Riches are not accidents. They are commanded. They are built first in the mind and then made real by the hand. The world is filled with people who work hard, but only the people who desire definitely grow rich. Let others chase opportunities without direction. Let others complain of bad luck. You must burn with desire and move with precision. That is the way forward. That is the road to riches. Say this: money is coming to me now in increasing quantities. My mind is magnetized to wealth. I act with purpose. I speak with command. I walk in riches. You are not too late. You are not too old. You are not behind. The moment you decide with definiteness, the universe moves to meet you. Desire is the invitation. Belief is the key. Action is the door. And you, yes you, must begin now. Let us go forward. The mental ritual that changes reality. The daily practice of greatness. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are prepared to receive. And preparation doesn't begin in your environment. It begins in your thoughts. The person who waits for circumstances to change before they change their behavior will always be waiting, paralyzed. But the person who changes themselves first, who acts as if the future has already arrived, commands conditions to obey their example. This is the fundamental principle. Act as if it were already done, and so it shall be. You must conduct yourself in thought, speech, and movement like the person who already possesses the result. This isn't self-deception or an empty simulation. This is active creation. Every step, every word, every thought is a brick in the construction of your new reality. Every great achiever walked long before the world noticed them, thinking, believing, speaking, as if their name was already carved into history. Think of the great leaders, inventors, and visionaries. Do you think they waited for proof to act like it? It wasn't the world that crowned them. It was their inner conviction that demanded the crown. The mind is a creature of habit, and the subconscious mind, being without will of its own, follows the habits you assign to it. It's fertile ground, but it needs cultivation. If you act as the poor person, it will deliver you poverty. If you act as the victim, it will create more injustice to support that identity. But if you act as the leader, the producer, the master of your fate, then your subconscious will begin to attract the ideas, the people, and the circumstances that match that image. And so I tell you, write your definite chief aim. Write it as if it is already complete. Don't say, I hope to become. Say, I am. Don't write, I wish to have. To write, I now possess. Make your words bold, definite, unshakable. Clarity is the driving force here. Then take that statement and read it aloud twice each day, once in the morning to set the tone for your day, and once in the evening to program your subconscious while you sleep. Read it with emotion. Read it with vision. Read it until you believe it deeply, and then read it more. Repetition is the mother of mastery. You must see yourself already in possession of the result. That vision must live in your imagination, not just for a moment, not just when you feel inspired, but as a daily mental ritual. This is the act of training your subconscious to accept a new identity. Your old self, the one filled with doubt and delay, must be evicted, and your new self, the one who commands the impossible, must be invited in with all honors. With each repetition of belief, understand, this ritual isn't merely about reading words. It's about becoming the person described in those words. You must walk into your day as that person. You must speak to others with their posture. You must carry their tone, their rhythm, their spirit. When you speak of your aim, do so as if you are unveiling an unquestionable truth, not requesting permission for it to exist. Act as if the ink on your destiny has already dried. Let me give you a living example of this principle in action. Andrew Carnegie. He didn't build his steel empire through brute force, but through unwavering belief. He didn't wait for others to prove themselves before treating them as leaders. He treated every associate as if they were already great people, and by doing so they rose to match the image he held of them. This is the silent, powerful law. What you consistently act as if is true long enough must become true. The ritual of morning and evening suggestion isn't idle superstition. It's the furnace in which identity is reforged. If you rise each morning and immediately read your aim aloud with clarity and feeling, you set the frequency for your day. If you speak it each night before retiring, you hand your subconscious a command to work upon while you sleep. Over time, this rhythm becomes your inner music, and it will override all previous noise of doubt and limitation. Now let's make this declaration with all your might. I conduct myself in thought, speech, and action as if I already possess the result I seek. Say it with finality. Don't whisper it. Own it. For what you declare repeatedly becomes law in the land of the subconscious. And once that law is written, the machinery of your mind begins to move in its service. Ideas emerge, energy increases, synchronicities and coincidences appear. Why? Because you have changed your vibration of identity, and the universe responds to your new frequency. And let me be clear, this transformation doesn't require the approval of others. You don't need applause to act as if you are powerful. You don't need titles to behave with authority. You don't need wealth to speak like a builder of fortunes. These things come after the behavior, not before. Your actions must lead, your emotions must follow, and the world must then respond. Let's speak of behavior. The person who acts as if they are defeated, carries slumped shoulders, avoids eye contact, speaks in uncertain tones and hides from challenge. The person who acts as if they are victorious stands tall, meets eyes directly, speaks with calm command, and walks toward the struggle with eagerness. These aren't random traits. They are reflections of belief. Which of these postures are you exhibiting today? You must choose which version of yourself you will breathe into being. But what if doubt remains? What if fear clings like a parasite? Then act anyway, for repeated action will strangle doubt. There is no greater antidote to uncertainty than motion. You cannot wait to feel confident before you behave with conviction. That's not how transformation works. You must earn confidence through performance. Each time you act in faith, your mind collects evidence that you are who you say you are, and soon a shift will occur. A new identity will emerge, one that no longer plays small, one that no longer hides behind past mistakes, one that no longer fears the opinions of the world. You will begin to carry your purpose with dignity. You will speak with the authority of belief, and the world will begin to treat you differently, not because it changed, but because you did. You are not here to impress others. You are here to express the full potential of the person within you, and that person is waiting. They don't require more information. They require repetition. They require discipline. They require a ritual of thought, of speech, of posture, and through that ritual they will rise. Now I repeat and emphasize, write your aim. Speak it aloud twice daily with emotion, with vision, with certainty. Act as if it is already yours. Conduct yourself in the image of the person who has already received it. This isn't fiction. This is the formula thousands have used to shape their realities. You shall now be counted among them. Stop everything right now. If you've made it this far, it's because the message is resonating. You feel the truth behind these words, don't you? Your transformation begins the exact moment you decide to act. Are you ready to stop just listening and start building the life you truly deserve? Don't let inertia hold you back. Subscribe to our channel today and unlock a consistent stream of insights, strategies, and inspiration that will turn your thoughts into concrete results. Your new reality is waiting. In all your journey, remember this supreme truth. There is only one thing over which you have absolute control, and that is your own mind. This is the cornerstone of all your potential and all your achievement. You may not control the actions of others, the fluctuations of the global economy, or the unforeseen events of life, but you control your thoughts, and by mastering that internal dominion, you come to influence all that is external. Everything else in your life will follow the precise pattern of your dominant belief. Your subconscious mind is the silent builder of your circumstances. It's the unseen hand shaping your conditions, but it's not creative on its own. It must be directed. It doesn't originate thought, it receives it. It doesn't distinguish between truth and falsehood, wealth or poverty, victory or defeat. It simply acts upon whatever you impress upon it through repetition and emotional intensity. What you plant in it, it must grow. It's a law as immutable as the law of gravity. Think of your subconscious now as a fertile field, ready to receive any seed you cast. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, limitation, and excuses, those thorns and weeds, they will take root and quickly overrun your garden. But if you plant seeds of strength, purpose, belief, and clarity, and water them daily with the unwavering conviction that they will sprout, then lush abundance shall rise. The field doesn't argue, it doesn't discriminate. It obeys your sowing. What have you been planting in your mental field lately? Your job isn't to beg the soil to grow. Your job is to sow deliberately and to weed out the seeds of confusion and skepticism. The subconscious responds best to commands spoken aloud, repeated daily, and backed with definite, fervent emotion. This is why I've insisted so much on the importance of writing your definite chief aim and reading it twice daily. It's not an empty ritual, it's a programming instruction to your inner world. The mind, once charged with definite thought and fueled by this conscious repetition, begins to relentlessly seek every opportunity, every connection, every circumstance that aligns with that command. Remember, the greatest enemy of progress isn't failure. It's doubt. Failure teaches, it refines. It's a step in learning. But doubt paralyzes. It leaves you cold and motionless, staring at the door that could lead to your future, but never turning the handle. You must choose now. Will you be a person of waiting or a person of movement? Will you live according to your vision or according to your fears? When you look upon your definite chief aim, don't entertain questions. Don't wonder if you are worthy. You are. Don't ask if it is possible. It is. The only question that matters is, will you decide to pursue it with everything you have? That's all. And once you answer that question with unwavering certainty, every other question, every doubt and hesitation fades away. Understand this law. Decision burns bridges. It removes retreat. The person who succeeds does so because they have eliminated the possibility of turning back, of giving up. When the mind knows there is no escape, it summons strength previously unknown, a reserve of power that lay dormant within you. You have more power in you than you have ever used, but that power will not awaken while you are still at the crossroads of choices. So I instruct you, write your decision. Speak it aloud. Commit to it in immediate action. Move now, not tomorrow. Not when the fear completely fades, for it rarely will before action. Move while the fear trembles in your shadow. Move while doubt stands frozen behind you. For the moment you move with conviction, You will feel a strength you forgot you had. You will feel alive again. A new vitality will course through your veins, and the world will see it. They will see a person who has made up their mind. They will sense the fire behind your eyes, the certainty in your step, the resonance in your voice, and they will follow. For people follow clarity, they follow decisiveness, they follow those who know where they are going. You are such a person if you decide to be. You need no permission from anyone. You need no external validation. Only the unbreakable will to speak, to move, to persist. You are the master of your own existence, and doubt is the servant that must be swiftly dismissed. And so, we close with power. Begin this very day. Assume the identity of your victorious self. Read your aim with fervor. Speak your affirmations with conviction. Act without doubt, even a small one. Reject fear, casting it out of your mind. Step into the role of who you are destined to be, and never again remove the crown from your head. This world will bend not to the loudest, not to the richest, not to the fastest, but to the most believing. Let that be you. Let that be the person you are now and forever. What's the very first action you will take in the next 5 minutes to solidify your decision and begin your mental ritual?